Okay, good morning. Welcome to Zambia Block Talk Radio. Thank you. We had an overlap with our sister program there, so sorry for that. Let's see those who are watching us this morning, wherever you are, before we start the show. If you could share with somebody, call someone, Zambia Block Talk Radio. Your noisy show, Open Forum, is on. Where we go with fireworks here, Francis. So we just push everyone to say invite someone. So we'll be going live. We are live right now, but here we go. Let's start our program.
Broken silence is what I dream.
That is Johnny Craig and Asibonanga. The South Africans with their vocals, Francis, you can't beat that lady, you know. They are always...
It reminds me, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And thank you for having me. It reminds me of South Africa's independence.
Yes.
That song was just, in the 90s, it had a lot of meaning.
Yes. Welcome, Francis. Welcome, Babimbe, and welcome, Nathan. The man got fired up at the end of the discussion, and he has a lot. And actually, what he was telling us, watching from Northwestern Province, Viepikoko, thanks 11th Diaspora Province, welcome. Is saying what we've been saying on this show and what we probably will touch on it today.
That's
the
right.
Cleaning businesses, Vavimbe, cleaning the mines are from South Africa. How does that make any sense? So that is where our problem continues to be as a country. Brother Kasonso in the house. Welcome, Kasonso.
Thank you.
Yeah. We are good. So we are ready to go because again, Nathan, our show, before we start, our time is gone. Our time is finished. So we can't keep having the same complaint every week of running out of time. At Facebook,
That's Dr. K for you right there.
Brother Mweseka in the UK is joining us today. He's been in Zambia forever.
Mweseka, you are in big trouble.
Hello. Hey.
You vanished. Me, I'm just seeing on Facebook, Lusaka.
He's dancing here.
Parliament.
It's always
Hero Stadium.
Yeah. So those who are joined us this morning, please share the link. Invite someone because we have a lot of unpacking to do. There is more to running a country than Alanshan, than just BF, in my view. We have more big problems in Zambia. We are giving contracts to South Africans. Contracts. Mines. So So share with someone, call someone. We need to empower ourselves. It is time we PF now. Time for economic independence. Go ahead, Baba Mweseka.
Yeah, just to say thank you very much, guys. I also once in a while I was watching you guys. You are doing a brilliant job, and I really missed you guys. But I had to take a sabbatical. I didn't realize I was physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally fatigued. But so Zambia was the token which I needed to replenish and rejuvenate my brain, So it was really fantastic and nice to see you guys. And I also was to States. I had some good time with Wakombe there in Atlanta. We watched the boxing match together in a sports bar, seeing some friends.
Oh, okay. Okay. But I don't know, try to turn your phones. We turn them that way your screen will be much better than landscape.
Okay.
Try to do that. Let's see if your phones are that is okay. That is okay. We'll work on that next week. Why don't we begin with a recap from last week? Because this is what we are going to be doing, Nathan. Every week we do a small recap. Already 10 minutes is gone. So we start with a small recap. What did you guys say? You know, Gamarande fintu pasho hapa. Once I'm sure to at that point, so let's revisit them very, very quickly. So Francis will begin with his point. Don't take 2 minutes. Just take 1 minute. Okay, guys? 1 minute. Just take 1 minute. What you, if you had amplified this, you were thinking about this idea more and more. Probably I have a question. Let's begin with Francis. I liked this idea, and I'll tell you why. Here is the clip.
This is now where donors come in. Like if Bali is striking deals with the Americans or the British or any other big countries, they should look at funding not just for Lusaka projects. They should take them sometimes in certain areas, advertise the province, take a trip, take the minister of maybe, for instance, if it's Southern Province, take the honorable minister with you, let him sell the province. So these donors, let them fund projects in certain provinces. Then we're going to see development, and we're going to see now our own ministers striking deals with other ministers from Congo.
Your thoughts very quickly, Francis, on that one.
My thoughts still stand, and my stance is still the same way. I think it's going to be a good idea to sell Zambia as a whole. It's the only way we're going to see development, and it's going to be slow, but it's in the end. I think it will work for everybody else. So I still believe in.
What I liked about that clip, after I listened to this, I don't know how many of you guys listen to these shows. You should be. I don't know how many of you listen to them, but he made the point. Francis. Bali should be moving not to ministers, minister of Southern Province he gave. Mukusa strike a deal with America. He said money if you have a Southern Province. Specifically, he's going with him specifically to sell Southern Province. I liked that point. I really did. The point I didn't like about that thing was when you spoke about the donors. I'm a donors. Yeah, I'm a donors. Francis. Donors. Yeah.
Here's why I mentioned. Can I explain why I mentioned donors?
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Because the government doesn't have money to start new projects most of the time. Look at our budget. It's 50% plus funded by donor funds. So if we are inviting donors and donors are opening their doors now to say they want to work with Zambia, why not give them the tasks that we cannot do? Let's not give them things that we can do. Give them the things that we cannot do, and they can help us. If they're truly, willing to help us.
Okay, we'll not labor it, but you know, from our lesson last week, we started saying, let's go quick clip yaba Bimbe. Bimbe is talking about economic hub. I like Nathan where Bimbe is saying federalite. I don't even know what he meant. You know, he didn't want to say federal government, but federalite. Let's go, Bimbe. Let's go.
In the mentioned devolution, which are two separate kind of things. We have provincial ministers now, but to me, currently, the current arrangement, provincial ministers are just political heads. They cannot spur development because of the way we are structured. We have a Ministry of Local Government. Then when you think deep, you dig deeper, what is the role of the Ministry of Local Government? They interface with local authorities. Local authorities are sort of councils and whatever. So which means control still in Lusaka. What I would like to see is to start thinking outside the box, having more like a federal light, not really federal, proper federal, but a federal light. This is where I'm saying each province should be an economic hub with a provincial minister as more like a little president.
Each province should be like economic hub. That was powerful, Bimbe. You know, that was really powerful. But I was laughing why you didn't want to say federal government, federal light. You in America would say you were being cute. Anyway, go ahead, Bimbe.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much, Bernard Musika. Long time we met, long time ago. I think you remember.
It's been a while.
So, coming to the word federal, and then I put in light.
Light.
It is. I don't want to go into the semantics because we've got a lot of intellectuals around. Once you start talking about full-blown federal government, then it spurs a lot of other stuff. So what I meant was just something smaller. You pick something from the way federal governments are run, and then make it your own in a kind of smaller way. Having said that, I'm quite happy also to note that the president has started unpacking his vision of how he envisaged this devolution to work. So I was listening to the press conference he had with the journalists, with the people, so to speak. He has at least unpacked that. However, we don't have much details because he's saying a lot of these details are in the budget. So actually wait for the budget to see how the resource allocation has been done.
Okay, well said. You and Bakombe believe in details, so you want some you want some more details. I hope you're not going to keep disappearing on us because I've got something for you here. He made a dramatic statement here. Now, if you refer to more, okay, let's listen to what Wakasoso said. Let's listen to what Wakasoso said.
Well, that is why I say the government does not know. It needs to put a group of studious people, study this value chain, quantify the financial movement of the copper out of Zambia. Also, how much the people of Zambia get out, and make that study public, and then create political will for the people to say to those giant institutions, we have got to get a cut out of this. Because if the government does not have a study, it doesn't have the value, the actual value of the money in that value chain. It does not have the quantification of how much Zambia is not getting out of it. The government is operating in the dark. it is using narratives nenshimi no milumbe
Oh.
ukucha discuss indalama. No, indalama ni samushe.
That statement Vakasonso you made, in line with that clip, there was also saying, "Abantu kumwensunga baishiba value ya copper. There will be trouble in the streets." And this is what I'm trying to communicate to my friends, mama groups. Ili ashidi aba mama group. Ngabwacha ni PF HTF. Abe inaba lesende ndalama. Na tusula. But today we talk about PF. Abalanda banesu. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for the opportunity to share thoughts this morning. And greetings to everyone, Bankamoko and Nava Kombe, Valimbe, Vamwekesa, Neaneo Va Roger, Kiawa Malukero Kunoku Yapune Kwambapo, Biambo Mana. So anyway, the thing here is we have to, my thought emanates from the look on Zambia as a contributor to the global economy. What is it that which has come out of Zambia that goes into the global economy, that defines us, helps us, or supports the very fiber and the formation of our country? It is the copper. Since the advent of bringing in investors, let them invest in the mines, there has been diminishing returns in terms of what the country really gets out of the copper. So it's like my investors, if you know. So my thinking is that we have got to have the actual amount of money that those industries are making, and then we get a cut out of it. Stop this whole business of let's go calculate a taxi, you know, but get equity, get a cut out of it. In fact, we should say goodbye to 100% ownership of mines by foreign firms. Those are our dungeons. They defined Zambia. They have built Zambia from the beginning. So what I'm trying to say is that unless we are able to increase our cut out of the mine, we are not going to be able to solve most of our financial problems, and we are going to remain a begging country. So there is need to renegotiate the contracts, the mineral rights that you've given to those people, and expanding production in the mines and establishing extended value chains. So
to your point, Wakasonso, the mining companies will tell us, oh, but even for even if value, for you know, that's what we have learned this discussion from the other week, Francis Nathan, that copper is running out. There are very few countries remaining with copper. So in forward to Ukula Maker. Finally, Nathan's clip, I didn't bring it, but again, he brought a very critical point here, where he referred to Dubai, the way Dubai, Nathan, is developed. You know, so I was bringing that discussion in my own life. Gana upata opportunity for diaspora, especially for diaspora. Na mwa wafe ku Zambia. Na mpata opportunity kakubomba. Akaka opportunity takakatwalile. One day kakapwa. Use that opportunity to either start something if you sustain. That's what Nathan was saying last week about Dubai have an budget. You know, babo mfia oilo nombaba lipanga ni take hub. Dubai, take hub using that money. Dubai, into tourism hub using that money. So I thought that was very, very powerful. And John Kavinga also brought the point. The mines are leaving holes, big holes. This is a discussion we are not talking about, Francis. We are not talking about you know. I was thinking about a journey Vakasonso from Kitwe to Ndola. Ushanga tuwadishiba tikopa yatampire ku Kitwe kuyafika ku Ndola. Nomba ifike palo asha turn off. yalapwa from Kitwe to Luansha naipwa kushelefe Luansha to Ndola. How would we be behaving? That kind of thinking. We'll be behaving differently. We'll be behaving different. But the way we behave, all of us, we behave like Kopa na Mairoika wako. So he gave us a very, very good point. Nathan, hold on. Nathan, to your point, you agree with me? What you brought the other week, and then Wamushu.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I'll tell you this. It's like the point you made on Facebook when you said, "Umuntu apanga kofiotu piotu no." Then they have a big budget how to spend that little money they've made. You remember that point you made?
Yes.
Yeah. You see, that's the way we operate, even at the highest level of leadership. We don't think if I make money, why don't I just invest all of it? Make money, invest all of it. Keep using Fiat 127. You buy a Benz later. You know, as when you just make a little money, Range Rover and all these things, very expensive phone. That principle we need to eliminate. Our biggest problem is mindset. So whatever we have made from the mines, it needs to revamp other sectors of the economy. Like you've said, it's a diminishing asset. So when the diminishing asset has eventually diminished completely, what are you going to do to develop agriculture and tourism?
So that should be our behavior, Francis, our leaders. But first and foremost, if we want, again, in the way of discussion, look where they are concentrated. If you to land up. You know, but we are living the real money. Very quickly, from what you have heard, our discussion last week, before Babimbe comes in, Babimbe is giving us just a small presentation on Trafigura. Trafigura is the commodity company which is in Zambia. These are, I would say, they are dangerous people. But go ahead,
Yeah, very valid points and very, very important points being raised here. But one thing which I see, which has been missing in all this discussion, is that Zambia needs a cultural change. The mentality, the culture, we are so much, you know, we can have all these solutions, partnership, you bring all these, but they need to be cultural change. I've been there for 2 months. And most of the time I was observing just the behavior of Zambians. It's quite pathetic. If you go, you know, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, you get invited by this relative, I'll take, you know, it's like every day seems to be a weekend. This guy is the same. I mean, seriously, it is. Sometimes I was even running away from people. No. Because every day, all they give you is food, alcohol, dancing, and all those things. You come like, I mean, these guys, really, I mean, it was quite very simple. And I'm like, how do they even raise their children? Because some of us from work straight is home. Then weekend, that's when, but these guys from work, they just meet up. There are these nice drinking places. And you're leaving about 10, 11 o'clock, and drinking during the week. And then weekend is something else. You'll be traveling with we need. It's good that I didn't even stand for election. Probably I'll be Minister of Health. If I was Minister of Health, one thing I was going to crack down is on alcohol consumption. It is really, people don't have, they're always complaining. What I found quite very disturbing. You find this friend, the economy is not doing very well, but then he takes you to a restaurant. When it comes to alcohol, he fills the whole table. I'm like, is this not the guy who was complaining? It's the mentality. And also, these guys, this thing of depending on investors, you know me, I call them investors. We are like, we need to partnership. There's a lot of money flying around in Zambia. It's only those people who know how to catch them. You know, there are people, what is so disturbing? I remember the first time I took my children, like the way I think the older one was 2 to 3 years, the younger one was 6 months. So we went to the villages, and then we're coming, and they could see the difference. Like some of the relatives were very, very rich, and some of them were very, very poor. And they'll be asking, why don't they have a swimming pool like these relatives here? Why don't... It's the same thing which I see, like, when you look at those people who are successful in Zambia, their lifestyle is actually different from those who are complaining about the economy, the salaries. They just need to be a cultural change whereby, come on, guys, let's try to close some of the loopholes. Those small, and most of these Zambians, their lifestyles, if you look at the Zambians, study them. I mean, you find there's a lot of places where money is being paid than what is coming in, and some of them have got a lot of side chicks and second houses.
That's another story, Mwisho. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that was a recap from last week. Wamweseka adds on another element here. The change for us to change. Maybe this is what we even miss from diaspora. We miss from Zambia. There is just that extra. Extra leisure. So today, our main discussion, we are looking at. I see other people in the waiting room. I'm sorry, we can only accommodate 6 here, or else we will have a crowded. So if you don't mind listening in there and maybe contribute on Facebook, please do. So our main discussion today will be looking at the press conference HH has. As you can see from my background, I'm saying the tangibles, not just the politics. What is his governing style? When you hear HH speak, what is his governing style? Devolution. He talked big about devolution. What is he saying to the youth? So we'll talk about that. But for now, let's listen to what Babimbe is finding out. We've been talking throughout the week, Babimbe and I, John Kavinga, about Trafigura. Babimbe, lead us, and then the guys here will fire the questions to you.
All right.
Say,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. This Trafigura company, well, I've never heard about it for some time, for a while, and the one that is very well known was Glencore.
Exactly.
So after our show the other day, when it was mentioned, I thought, well, let me Google it. But because our friend Google has got this algorithm, so anything Trafigura started popping up. And they were not pretty. So then I got interested to try and find out. It's not a thorough, really heavy investigation, but what I left is raises a bit of concern to us as people in Zambia. So to start with, so who are they? Well, they are a Swiss multinational trading company which trades in base metals and energy. Its headquarters is in Geneva. However, it's registered in Curacao, an island in the Caribbean. That is its ultimate legal domicile. I know Wakasonso is an accountant. Maybe he understands why certain companies tend to put their headquarters in tax havens, so to speak. So that already raises alarm bells. Okay. Now, so they claim on their website, they are into oil, petroleum products, metals and minerals, shipping and chartering. So they are kind of the whole value chain, but I wonder whether they do the actual extraction, which I don't think they do from their website. They are more after the extraction. That's where their value chain, that's where they join the value chain of the copper, which Wakasonso has really talked about. Within Zambia, so far I could only find 2 companies or 2 organizations that are attached to them. One of them is Impala Terminals, which is on their website. The other one, Puma Energy, is not on the website. However, when you Google around, you find that they bought it from Sonangol in Angola just recently. So the Impala terminals, actually what they do is they provide bonded warehousing facilities for the copper from Zambia as well as Congo for shipping outside. On the Puma side, they provide distribution and retail. They are retail. They do storage of oil. That's finished products, obviously. That's what they do. I think they are filling station called Puma. Now, what is disturbing is what I found out just in 2021, what has been attributed to them. So, for example, just recently, on the 12th of this month, Trafigura has been suspended in Mexico. They had their licenses withdrawn for providing fuel. The reason is because they were bringing contraband fuel. Now, think about that. So maybe they're trying to run away from tax.
Yeah.
Although they are denying that. So that
Of course.
From the Financial Times. Then on the 13th of this month, there was a report again from this organized crime and corruption reporting where a good close friend of the Mugabe regime worked with Trafigura to do some oil deals and mineral deals within Zimbabwe. Now, this guy has relocated his businesses to Mauritius because he's been banned by the US and the UK for corruption. Okay. Then on the 15th of June this year, Brazil is pursuing a probe of top Trafigura executive for corruption. Then on the 9th, there was a report that there is a group bribery case going ahead in Jamaica. Yeah. Then obviously in 2020, there was a report that they were being investigated by the US authorities for alleged corruption and market manipulation relating to oil trading. So that's in a nutshell the dodgy kind of
the people who are selling our copper.
Now, so then I'm asking myself, what should we do? So my conclusion seems to me this is a big company with very deep pockets.
Yes.
And they seem to be prying on countries that are either weak in governance or they are corrupt or both, because they don't seem to operate in developed countries at all. Okay. So this is why I'm saying, what should we do? I'm thinking maybe the government, with their relevant authority, should try and just audit its operation since it came to Zambia. How did it come to Zambia? What has been its operation? How much tax has it been paying? Kind of. But also the media and civil society should start getting interested. Even us,
including ourselves.
We are talking about it. So that is kind of about this company.
Okay. Francis, question to either comment to. Yeah, go ahead.
On Trafigura? Oh, okay. To me, very interesting layout, Vimbe. To me, I can tell from the jump that Trafigura is just the front. These are companies that are run by top agencies in the world. I'll give you an example. In the 70s, CIA was running an airline. So some of these things, they come up. They I can tell they're not just a company formed by individuals, but they're formed by big guys from big institutions or agencies from the world, from the Western world. And sometimes the reason why countries deal with such kind of companies is because they are recommended When these countries go to poor countries and they give you money and deals,
Recommended.
they just act, they're recommended. Oh,
Yeah.
if you want to do this and that, there is this company that you can work with, just like the Chinese do. We are coming here, we're giving you money, but we'll bring also a guy who akulainisha mazembe. So it's part of the deal. So these Trafigura guys, though, I'm very sure they didn't just show up to go and campaign Kuli president in State House Atawe. We are Trafigura and we do this. No, they must have been recommended by the guys who were giving us money. And that's the reason why debt is very expensive. Edi tufwaye, edi tufwaye.
Yes.
Yeah, iresa nefintu fingi sana.
Yes. Your point you make.
So just even auditing them, it's impossible. You open that. You try and audit them. Ishmafimbule fintu fingi. Kumya vati fyo mwambe fyo lekeni.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I think like going to what, but I can go straight to what Pastor Nkama said. We need to start developing and funding other industries as well, sectors in Zambia. For example, the agriculture sector. We should do away with the copper thing. We can run it parallel, run the copper thing, but also start developing other sectors, agriculture, tourism, start boosting them. And to Trafigura,
hello,
whether we like it or not.
Zimbabwe bachirumbula uyoba finance. They use that guy mandari kwete connection to government. So corruption in Mrelumbula Wakombe is huge. Very quickly, Nathan to Babimbezi, either ask him a question or just a small comment.
Yeah, because you see, the point is, like we keep saying, like you are saying, Roger, these are a country with a broken down rule of law is extremely vulnerable to these things. Just like Francis has said, you know, in their so-called, like you have said, recommendations, they will say, you know, like I remember when we used to play that if you are a striker and you've got a defender, every time you get the ball, you are able to pass that guy who like to defend. You know what we used to say? Na parfois, send the ball to me. Na parfois pa. You know what I'm trying to say? So what they do is they say, Kuzambia parfois. You can do whatever
I like
you want.
that. I like that.
A broken down
I like
rule
that.
of law, a country
like
without
that.
a rule of law existing.
I like that.
That's why anybody can do anything. So
like that.
Yeah, Kuzambia
parifwa. And you know, Nathan, Francis, I'll keep hitting this point until to change and famous Zambians. Parifwa. Why? Our focus. Also last week, who goes per market? Nangu mutamfeni wa kudeki nangu washani parifwa ukwino kwa venda lama tatuposa kwa mano Francis
mwalishi wechale ngama Roger kuya kuma negotiations lyonse tu ya nimbali we are beggars. That's where the problem is, you know. Lyonse kuya nimbali ya mutulo
focus ngayati chinje Francis focus iyo kwebati. What controls Bakasonso? 70% of our economy. That's why she was in copper. Nelia she yonse. How do we get part of that money? But it she never quiz. It she never could at Nandu. We walk on the Ravai Ketebush. We were very Rusambo.
Yeah.
You know, and HH is telling us it's not my priority. Rusambo, PF is not my priority.
We have become a nation of
as a nation, Facebook, some groups, watcha, PF.
You know why, but do you know why? It's because we have become a nation of cadres. PF succeeded in making us one. We're a nation of cadres. Quite a lot of professional cadres are we all learn it, but they're cadres. When they're debating, you can even see the debate is empty.
So if we're, in other words, they are saying, let's refuse that. You know, PFO got to 20 kudi bukada. Na ifame to the bukada.
Yeah.
Who traffic bukada? What traffic bukada? To our mama group, asking Francis Wiwido.
And you see, here is the man. Here is the man, Roger. The man is trying to bring a higher level of doing things.
Yes.
Here is dragging. Ale wire.
Yeah.
The guy, this is, you know, when people talk to me about HH and they are saying all these things, you know what I do, Gavimbe?
I will understand. You should be understanding, because you know, like a lot of people are getting impatient. That's understandable. They can give you 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Now it's getting to 2 months.
So what do you want him to do? What do you want him to do? Let me give you an example.
2 months.
Let me give you an example. Do you know what we expect him to do? To continue with the same status quo of vindictive politics. He has refused.
No, it's not vindictive.
No.
Removing characters like Amos Mwanzenga.
We expected him to act just like the way everybody has acted. Immediately, baku president, fire everybody.
No.
Yeah,
that's vindictive politics.
No, it's not vindictive.
Mwisho, wait. You are going to hear how he explains it.
Do you know what? Even Joe Biden hasn't completed filling in all the positions.
No.
Right now.
It's
The
a
crucial
very quickly. I don't know if you want to say anything. You guys, you should train yourself to say something in 1 minute. Make you know that material sharing sana pa. Ida shiri kulu tukwete. Go ahead, Marcus.
Let me stand in the middle of Wimbe and our Reverend Nkama. Yes, there is a component to which the president is an intellectual, and he has to study and work through his appointments and his issues systematically. But also, we have to also be mindful that he's doing job on training. He's never held a governmental public office. So there is a bit of the learning curve that is going on there. And in terms of firing everybody, yes.
Is there a university where you go to learn to be president?
No, the way we are talking to him, the way he's doing it right now, he's in class. So what we are saying and what we are speaking is part of shaping his lessons and how he's going about it. There is a way in which you must be able to be constrained by time effects, because that way you avoid sabotage. Look at what was happening at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. As he was dilly-dallying, some guy was appointing people in the name of the president going abroad and calling some back. So you don't want that. And most importantly, we expected him under 60 days to constitute his teams, at least to have people placed in leadership roles across the different spheres of the government enterprise. So that one, we cannot apologize for asking for a quicker hand. But as to the other changes,
according to him, let's go to the tube and hear what he says. And some of the things I would want you to hear, it is how he says, I don't know if it is there in the clip. And I was saying to Nathan in our previous discussion, it is how rotten our country is. He has a black spot. Black spot. So but replacement, who do you want us to replace with?
Your excuse Roger, because the president The president,
Dynamic.
President Malaika. So even the people to be appointed should not be expected to be angels. So he has to look at his people, his team, the ones that have worked with him for many years.
Right.
And some of the appointments could even be redemptive of those stories. Our intelligence, blind spot. Niba intelligence ba PF. You know, that should not be an excuse. You're not gonna.
Okay.
I want to agree now.
Sorry, that was push you it's a main discussion. So we are going to be examining his governing style of why he is doing some of the things the way he is doing them. As always, please put them down and then we'll dive into it. In my view, it's going to be very helpful. It's been very soothing. Instead, if it was for me and Bakombe, PF, if we had our way. But this cycle. But listen,
he's wrong.
Listen to this. Listen to this. I hope you take note. We are governing is governing style. This is what he says in his press conference.
We bring a different approach to public affairs management, bring an approach which may actually appear unusual. What do I mean? In the sense that we want to remain methodical, we want to remain organized, and sometimes it's viewed differently because citizens have been used to a lot of haphazardness, a lot of quick fixes, because we're looking at creating a base, a framework for solutions that will work for the people, not just in the short term, but in the medium term, in the longer term, and more importantly, even when we've left office, so that the value that we create now, we're creating, may not be seen by some people, but they'll see that value soon, because some people see what they see through the eye. But we can see more than a human being is designed to see more than what the eye sees. It's a visioning part. It is an extrapolation part. It is the part that requires one to drive a country in a way, particularly a country, with a lot of stakeholders, shareholders, if you want to call them citizens, that have different needs, that have different challenges. So as a leader of a country with that diversity of needs and expectations, you want to bring all of those into the frame and manage the country, taking into account that you are managing for a broader base and the diversity that is there. And we're determined to do that, and sooner or later Zambians will see in that.
Okay.
Can I say something on that?
Francis, Pembele.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
Manage the country for a broader base.
Not by UPN defeat.
Broader base, because you are managing a broad country with a broad groups of people. He's president of both the people that lost and those who voted for him. Okay, methodical, organized. Citizens are used to quick fixes which are done haphazardly. You have to have medium, long-term plans even after you have left office. You see, you know why I like that point, in the way he says, even after we have left office. We have heard many times, presidents, I'm sure even in the UK, most it's the same. Vakasonso, you hear the American presidents when they are talking 30, 40 years from now. He's not just thinking about his term of office. The reason he's mentioning 30, 40 years is because he's looking at the same point HH has mentioned, manage the country for a broader base, even after we have left the country. Let me end there.
Let me counter that. I've been itching to do that. Approach Yava HH. I like his ideas, but the method is wrong. He's slow. Here's why. This is politics. He's treating politics like a science. It's not a science. Abantu bankamabalandenuka. People will give you time. If you don't do it, you can't come and tell them they're a year election at no. They'll vote you out. In politics, there are immediate things, and then there are long-term things. The reason why the president was voted in is for two things, and two things alone. One is to improve the economy. Abantu bale chula. Two is ukuikata abantu nempi abantu balibire. In the end, if you look at the last 2 months, ichale fulusha abantu kumona makadas vale pende mpia openly no coach mpia. So if the president comes in and changes those things, you have a problem with the youth. You have a problem with the people. So we understand that what he's trying to do is looking at the long term. But the first things you do when you come in, even in the US, Biden Ingire, he changed the agencies. I'm a heads agencies. CIA guy was changed. The FBI guy was changed. You know, stuff like that. AMA agencies, quickly you change them. Here's the reason why. You don't want to be pushing your agenda, having the old guys who believed in the other agenda. Mamon. So in governance, you have to be careful. The point that he brings in to say, problem, issue. Those are not angels. If the president and his team, they are looking for people who are 100%, they'll find it a hard time finding them. Even him, by HH, he has some things that if we scrutinize, he cannot qualify. The vice president also has the same thing. All the MPs that you see, we are all sinners, unless I'm wrong.
Except for
Mamon,
me.
the president, and when I'm pointing,
again pointing only 1 minute.
Okay, and when I'm pointing, the president shouldn't look at somebody who everyone will accept. He should speak from his team. Abantu abalwile nabo. Niwe sowing that forget about PF approving your candidate. So two things alone. I'll come back to that. Economy, no ukupoke MP abantu baiba. If he delays on that, he's going to have a lot of problems. The same guys are in strategic positions. The long term we understand. Short term, the process is good but very slow.
Can I come on that? Yeah. Yes, there is a problem. There are delays which making people anxious. I was happy he realizes that, and throughout his interview, he's mentioned that. And one. Well, I don't want to mention whatever. He alluded to the fact that, you know, we've changed anti-corruption, whatever. We don't want like what happened recently where the prosecution was not ready. I know most of you, yes, that's one of that reason was talked about. There was a talk about the recovery of assets. The strategy, it seems they've learned from what happened during Mwanawasa. We went gung-ho and we collected less, yet we spent so much money. Now, from what I'm picking from him is more like pitting thieves against thieves. I think that's what he mentioned, that, you know, people are telling us, we know they have destroyed, some are destroying evidence there, but we are hearing. So sounds to me like, pitting thieves against thieves. They are all But what I'm worried about is whether that is enshrined in law, like in the US where we have plea bargain. If you say this or you bring back the money, then you can be forgiven. But again, based on that, I remember the Minister of Justice says actually there is such a law that if you bring back the money that you've stolen within a particular time frame, then you can be forgiven or something like that. So I'm not so sure about that. Yeah, so I think he's aware of that, and is mentioned some of the things that have happened because of those kind of delays. So,
All right.
but he didn't give a time frame. He said very soon everything will be sorted.
Oh, can I chip in there?
Let me also
Bakasonso
respond
and
to-
then Bamunsho. Yeah.
So for me, when I hear that statement you play, he is talking about setting up the system through which he's going to govern and administer his, the government, administer a government. And if he talks about setting up a process for the long term, that is very important. And it is very good to have such a deliberate and thinking guy in the seat doing that. Yeah. So, but if you look at what needs to be done, he has been given 5 years. He's not been given a lifetime presidency. So whatever he is going to do is going to be constrained by the timelines. We know that everything rises or falls on leadership. So the first thing when the new man comes is to set up leaders who are going to be his torch bearers, carrying out his values, his ethics, his dreams, and his vision. But when the vacancies remain, or the same people are continuing to be directors in different positions, almost 2 months after, that creates a problem, because it means that he hasn't started in full doing the business of the people, which is governing the country. And he has the permission of the Zambian people to constitute his team. And it's okay for him to make mistakes, appoint someone, fire them 2 weeks later if they can't perform. That is also part of the gig. You cannot hope to have perfect conditions. One of the best rulers who ever ruled the world and this country for prosperity is Jedediah, the son of David, King Solomon. King Solomon once quipped in Ecclesiastes 11, verse 4, that he who waits for perfect conditions will never get anything done. So government in itself is a bureaucracy. Government in itself is a bureaucracy. It works slow. But if you add on top of that, the team is not constituted, the teams are not constituted, then we are left to feel like he hasn't started doing the business of the people, which is governing. So those concerns are genuine. And I'm sure he's up to it, because we have seen a lot of changes this past 2 weeks. Boards being dissolved and all those kind of things. This is appropriate pressure from the blog sphere and other people. Of course, even from the inside, whatever they are planning and they're doing from the inside, that's very important. But it's important for the president to have his team in place as quickly as possible, so that he can begin to do the business of the people completely and supervise that infrastructure of a group of leaders who believe in his dream, who understand his aspiration.
Again, Bakasonso, he says that is whatever you are explaining. Bakasonso, Babimbe, Wakombe here, whatever I said, that is what we are used to, and that is what we want to see. So he's saying, give me a little bit of time. This is my governing style. That is what we are used to. But he's saying, be patient. Be patient. Take up a ngombe. 90,000 in ngombe. Too much take up a ngombe. Too much take up a ngombe. In Coco, for 4 weeks, if they are going to moist, I'm going to again. Too much take a ngombe. What a patience. What a patience.
Our patience that were quite we need him to get to doing the business of the people
Yeah,
in real time.
Nathan, quickly, and then
Vakasonso, I agree with you about getting to doing the business of the people. Here is my concern. Limo that realize that you are actually in that mind frame or mode or state which is even describing. No ishivati mwali bonse twaliberera ati umuntu nga wina ma elections fire. We don't even realize that we are all like that. Tulekana nokuchita admit. He says he's bringing, you rightly put it, he's been given 5 years. How many weeks has he done? To be very honest with you, look, like I said, when we are talking about these things, this is my position. Each one of us has got a different approach. Roger, me, I've given him a time frame. When a certain time frame elapses, I'll begin to make demands from my part.
Ababene Vakasonso, Nathan, new accountant. Short term accounting, Nishani, Tabarangati in 6 weeks.
You can to work accountants number to London. More accountants, more quarterly reports. Monthly reports monthly, annually. So if we're more accountancy, my actions and operations of things, you have a time constraint. So if we in place so that the problems can begin to be solved. Compromise on delivering the things he promised. Yes, he has 5 years, but to create his team, he can take another 5 years to create his team. I know.
6 weeks. 6 weeks. 6 weeks to 5 years.
Constituting a team as quickly as possible is very critical to delivery of his manifesto and his promises. That cannot be compromised. Yes, certain things are going to be slow in terms of government practice, but the leaders must be in place. They were in the opposition for 23 years.
What are our friends?
They should be ready on day one. Plug, play. Plug out this PF, by UPNG. So we take UPNG.
Banyamirenge, yeah, that was the word Nathan I was waiting for. Banyamirenge. But PF, inefonderante, Banyamirenge, Walaba Congo. But PF, Vena Zambia Banesu. That is the point. Surprisingly, the focus of every successful listen. Permanent secretary. Muipime. Pantunga mrefu kusam kuwekesha pofie. Even if it's tabanenu. You tell me how many of these people are for to Porto? But if you come to push off your man, kukula man.
That is okay. A land can never be short of leaders.
Surprisingly, the focus of every successive government seems to be to pamper the masses only with material satisfaction. The focus should be more to build wealthy mindsets. I would have loved President HH to set up a ministry that could improve the mental faculties of our people. That is very interesting. What is another Facebook saying the two things Francis has mentioned can't be sorted with a quick fix. If you want to catch those thieves, you need prosecutors with strong evidence, but that won't happen currently because the people in the system and the system itself. Changing the personnel will probably not take long, but changing the system will take longer. As for the economy, that will take Katuishi long uko. Vakasonso, to repeat the verse of the Bible verse by your Mbuya here. I disagree with Mr. Kasonso. Dr. Kasonso, someone is disagreeing with you. He says the president is not going to do what you want to do. What you are describing is an odd and has not worked before. The president is doing things differently. The man is doing the business of the people right now. I hear in Zambia, don't play with HH. Kanobare urefuati bakusokolya meno. Abeni abantu bali ku Zambia fo barerana. Tabale angala kwangala kuli HH. Ngawa Sims Kasenge, what does he say? Sims Kasenge. Oh my goodness, because also even time is gone. What is the use of wealth when you cannot use it? Okay, that was for another one. But gentlemen, his governing style again. H.H. Nathan goes to answer the phone calls from the people. What does that say? If that continues to be his governing style, because in my mind I was saying, utuma ministers tukala kwatano mwenso ati hapa ngata ule bomba wala kusosera abantu. Go ahead, Nathan.
Staying connected and in touch with a grassroots. That's what it means. You see, he's trying to. This is my perception. When you do that, what you're trying to, and that's what kills a lot of leaders. You start living in an ivory tower and you lose touch with the base and what is going on the ground. One of the things that killed Edgar Lungu is the inability to communicate, to address, and to respond to things as and when they happened. At times, you don't necessarily need to react, to respond, or to address certain things. At times, just come and talk to the people and say, okay? Like he did after the US trip. That was very important. That was a huge missing component in the previous administration. Come back, give a report. Na ile kumangalande. Fiat kenifi. Na ali kumanya umunandi across the border. What's her name? No. Bakasonso imwena ba Francis imwena anywhere here ba Sarah. Did we even know? It wasn't even publicized that the president made Congolese president. No, until we talked about it in his press conference. What I'm trying to say is that, to your question, Roger, quickly, number one, taking phone calls and doing those kind of things, you are trying to stay connected with the base. Some of the questions that the people asked on that interview, they are not going to come out of the presidential report. They will not tell you those things. The people themselves, they will tell you, like about Sweetie Angala asked about, about the health system, if you have dialysis, something that he has been through. You see, so it opens your mind and say, oh, now Mishiba, wow, that item is not even on my list. Thank you, Lord. Walemba. Wow. That's what that does.
I think
this conversation was robust one, and I'll be tuning in to listen. Well done, gentlemen. Oh, we bring them every week. You ask Brother Francis, you tell you. We bring heavy lifting.
Just to add on what Wankama said, I think, talking to people directly, I mean, maintains that kind of open relationship there, accessibility. And I think during the interview, he did mention that whenever a president is there, there is always these people around who tries to say they are protecting the presidency, but actually they are the fixers most of the time. So he's trying to avoid that. And he gave an example where he was told that, no, if you start getting phone calls from people, you'll be embarrassed because PF will be really trying to talk about it. So, so that to me is a good sign, but also it gives the other guys, the ministers, to do the same.
Exactly.
So that they are approachable, not what we hear.
That one is huge. That one, Wavimbe, you can say that again.
That is very, very important.
Yes.
So on the appointments, I think on that one, he is clear. Unfortunately, that's what I'm saying. He didn't say put a timeline, but he said soon, within the next, I think, 2 weeks or so, most of these things will come out. So I think we need to give the man a bit of time. I think
a bit of time
is going to come true to that. It's going to happen. And one other thing that I liked also is which I've been really advocating for a long time, even in the old government, is having somebody within State House to manage policy, not really policy, but to check that everything is aligning to what the policy is all about.
I
Because
like that.
it comes from the manifesto. It
Mhm.
goes into government policy. Then you've got to follow through that is being done accordingly. So apparently there will be a PS specifically for that. Will be
For that.
announced next week. So
All
that's
right.
to me is a
So
good
we
thing.
have only 15 minutes to
Thank
do
you, Marcel.
20 seconds, Roger.
Okay. 20 seconds, Nathan Varitema Wakombe. But
20
he never
minutes.
he never
Mr.
sticks
Ratchet.
to it.
Yeah, I just want to agree. I like the president's approach of engaging with the Zambian people. Even in the US here, where the president does a radio address every now and then. It's very important for a leader to do that. And we lacked that during Malungu's time. I have been saying that I think State House needs a communication director. This thing of just having the guy in charge of media, Anthony, just media and China affairs, it's not enough. HH's governance is kind of different. He even says this all the time. You're going to see, this is good. We can't have the president all the time coming to explain things. He's the only person who explains. The job of the communication director is to explain policy of the president to the nation, and at the same time find surrogates. In the US, if today there's breaking news concerning the president, immediately you see on CNN, on Fox News, on MSNBC, they've already dispatched surrogates who are going to explain the administration's stance on a
20
certain
seconds.
issue.
20
That's
seconds,
what
yeah,
we
Peter.
need, Zambia. The
Tw-
president is doing
yeah.
it alone. You'll be fatigued.
Wakombe, you reminded me when you said it is good now, President Wagnofa. It took me to my town hall. I'm a town hall.
Yes.
President
Exactly.
Wakuno,
Yes.
where they are answering questions. So, please don't stop. Your people tell you to stop listening. This is our form of town halls. As a matter of fact, maybe one day you give us the diaspora.
Let me also comment. Let me
Naimo, 20 seconds, Musho. 20 seconds, Naimo.
Yeah, so his state to be accessible is very useful. It's very, very useful to the country because it gives the people an inside perspective of what is going on.
Yes.
Remember, there's a lot of, from where we come from, for the Kenneth Kaunda era and other times, there's a lot of mystery shrouded in the presidency.
Yes.
So he is demystifying the job and making sure that it is for the people. And and also the ability to explain himself to the people is a form of being accountable to his people. So he is definitely the competent guy and the useful man that the people wanted to be there, and he is doing a good job. He's doing a good job on promoting democracy, letting people talk. Yeah. But on constituting his team, yes, the most important thing that made me happy in that press conference was when he talked about filling positions quickly, because he needs to have a team playing Africa Cup to win. Bafiguera, Bafiguera, Mzambia, Kumaini, Tutule, Tuava, Neturieko. Yes, the enterprise must be completely functional.
Complete.
Yeah, so,
anyway, na company fete mupushe muri 1 week fe wonse na mubabikamo. Ine masasanga kuti nomba mulebika mu abantu aba ba half hazard. Nomba kula tamsha afye. So chira mulungu you are training new people. Kuno kuba sungu twaba kwali bono kwebati. Yo ngawakwata high turnover mu company, now kwata high turnover. The boss, you are going to be in trouble. You know, it's not they are saying you should employ angels. Employ competent people. Take your time. Go
23 years more position, but competent people, baba.
23 years. Takwava.
20 years more position, they are not ready.
There is no school of Sambi president. But that here is saying quick, small wins in the combustion engine for big long-term wins. Win small every day and you are a long-term winner. On the first day, ladies and gentlemen, the Cadres supermarket out. That was a win. On the first day, from $22 dollar, 15 and 18. That is a small win. From the first day, Ichalo, win once to you know, at our country. That was a huge win. The freedom he won us.
5 seconds. 5 seconds.
Yes, yes.
One thing that most of we are not talking about, if it's behind the scenes, is
yes.
Do we all realize that there's a group of people who school of diplomacy undergoing training to take over
and he made that point. Nkalafunya abantu kumushi twayamusambirisha. Na yakaye mwanako ku
there are people with diplomatic school getting
you know Wakasonso, I even wrote this point, Francis. He says people see what they see with their eye. They don't look beyond what they can't see. So that's not a prophet. You know, that's what he's telling us. Stop being myopic. Stop.
So 2 minutes.
I would like to see that some of these ministers.
2 seconds.
Let's go to the next point.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with this thing, I think you cannot win. But what my criticism basically wasn't really the slowness or whatever. It's the lack of information. Because perception in politics is a big thing. As long as people perceive nothing is happening, people are being caught with money, then suddenly it's quiet. I think that is unsettling for a lot of people. So the communication,
let's go to the next.
And again, I agree, we need proper communication machine, not propaganda, but to be very clear, to be,
okay.
Let's
go to the last point. We have only 10 minutes to finish that one because Dr. Kasonso and Dr. Francis here, they spent all the time. When they have 1 minute, they spent 10 minutes, nothing. So I don't know what we can do. Here we go about devolution. This was strong. Those who are listening to us in Zambia, at Lusaka, Scotland, those who are listening, our youth is encouraging you. That money, very strong money. I hope we'll keep him to his word. Is coming rural area. Here is HH.
Where the brightest child, again from the poorest family, will get a scholarship from a constituency fund. Never done before in the history of this country.
I have to play it again because it started at the mid.
For that devolution-related money to the local suppliers of goods and services. So the youth, I want to address the youth. They are the opportunities. Now in your constituency where you are, you will have an opportunity to tender for a construction of a teacher's house. Right in the constituency. The money will be there. Rather than the situation that is there, Luchi, where the contractor to build one classroom, one teacher's house, comes from a school in Chama. The contractor comes from Lusaka. And in the past, that was a party card. You know what I'm talking about. You know it very well. If it wasn't that, it was a foreigner. In Chama kwa Kambombo, wafika muntu, awoneka different. Even understanding the local issues doesn't. But that's how the system works. We're changing all of that. We are in office now, and we're determined to do that. It will put money in the local areas, a lot of money over a 5-year period. First time in the history of this country, which we will have a national budget being debated here, alongside we will have a constituency budget in the council chambers being debated for those local priorities: water, health, education, youth fund, women fund, including happy, Luchi, a scholarship fund at the local level in the constituents where the brightest child, again from the poorest family, will get a scholarship from a constituency fund. Never done before in the history of this country.
How powerful was that?
That is the essence of economic development. That is the essence of economic development. Economic development is creating conditions at the family level, the firm level, and the country level. So you are going to create an impact at the, what you call in some phrases, at the micro level. And then you have a multiplier effect as you multiply these activities across the country. So you will see that between 2 to 3 years, you will see the effect of that money improving the conditions and the welfare of people. But ababa alipo kwaisa kwali kufuntule ifikulwa pankongole at economic development. Yeah. So what the president there is explaining is the essence of economic development, empowering people, creating conditions at the local level that are multiplied in multiple locations, and building products and things and providing services that way. That is a very excellent way. That's a very excellent strategy for governance.
Francis, I like where he says, while the parliament is debating the budget, they'll also be debating the local budget. Can we see the start of a seed of devolution of decentralization, Francis, we've been talking about?
And I love that. And when you do that, then everybody's taking part in the whole process. That's how it should be. We shouldn't wait for things in the newspaper to hear what the government is doing. These things should be explained by our MPs, and then we need a TV station like C-SPAN, so we see the debates and what they're talking about in Parliament. It's very important. So most of the stuff we don't know it. We just come and hear them. Even bills that are that pass. We don't even see how the bills become, how some of these things become bills. So I think it's a great thing to involve.
I like that. You know, Francis, the idea you've given me.
Baroja, on perception, but Pisha point, Vimbe, very important. If 3 days ago, it was in the papers, people are saying, Shirempia Baikete Kuli Kumu Kashanaudia. And the reason why they're not prosecuting because Sharimpia Shaba UPND. You see how things move.
I'm just saying.
We can say how we were talking about Lungu. It's part of governance. If we just want to talk about good things about
C-SPAN,
we'll do a disservice.
No, C-SPAN. No, I have 65. We have enough coverage of those.
No, we're talking about perception.
Yeah,
and the people getting involved in the government.
Mwaleta, Mr. Kombe. C-SPAN type of coverage. My thinking, my spinning head is telling me this is where I think we should work with local authorities. Ukuma ama cell phone, you know, bakale alive. Won sefie muli cell phone. Muli Shifoka kuli 65 million. I was 65 million. It's a lenga. I will name example. It's a lenga to the quarter and problem. So you bring a very excellent point. Let's put a cell phone. Ikala alive. Kumpolo ko surveillance debate. Local issue. We should know for Valeranda. I like that one. That has just made the day for today.
Just to add on that, actually in Zambia, Parliament is beamed live anyway, so that already happens.
I don't think it's always. Where can you find it?
I think they've got a TV.
No, they record for the Parliament itself, for the library, but not for the audience, for people like us to watch.
No, they do.
They do? On what station?
I know, but radio,
Parliament Radio.
Parliament
Radio, Parliament TV, I think.
So that is another homework.
But whether that is translated to the lowest level in terms of maybe other languages and whatever, that's another thing.
But
however,
that is going to be our project as well. We got a link on Zambia Blog Talk Radio on our page on Facebook. It should be going live. Ngawaya live Zambia. That is another good point.
But one other thing is these things are boring. I come back to what Bernard mentioned. It's the cultural change. We have in the UK Parliament TV. I'm sure if you see the viewing figures, they're quite very low. So people don't like maybe they're listening to those politicians. So I think what we need is a kind of an intermediary, some sort of what we call a knowledge management, a knowledge broker that sits in between, that then repackages that information in a more exciting, understandable way. So this platform could be such a thing that can do.
I agree with you. 100%.
that's
Well,
the
Roger,
problem.
Roger, we can be
That
sponsoring. We can be sponsoring
the
town hall
debates-
meetings. They are very cheap. I don't think there's much involved. We can
The-
force
the-
an MP or a leader to meet these people more constituents. People come in and for 15 hours. We can donate money for whatever they want, tea, nashani, and have a phone. And we beam that interaction on social media. We can do that. When you do that, the leaders now, they know they're in check.
Yeah. But before Nathan, before we forget Bimbe's point, this is actually the way what do we call it on this platform? We call it unpacking. You know, we bring things in a way ordinary citizen
Yeah,
you know?
I think if you put up a good proposal, I think there are some governance money, especially from mostly I think GIZ, that could help set up something like that.
I like that.
Because
Then
what
I don't have
what
to
is
wait.
missing is the interface with the people.
This is what
So
I
we
wanted
need
to
that
say, Roger.
brokerage in between.
To Vakombe's point, the president addressed the nation on radio. He also needs to make a date with the diaspora.
I agree. Very important.
I like
Very
your
important.
reaction, Roger. Next week, I have a big show in Special Independence. I'm
You
going
have
to
the president.
interview. I'm going to interview a seasoned journalist. He will be talking about press freedom and the media in Zambia.
That's big. That's huge.
Parliament TV, Zambia DSTV channel 272. So
Thank you.
yeah, so we'll find out about channel 272. Maybe we can be beaming it live. But I like what Bimbe says, where we bring discussion much quarter. If you are in parliament, if you are actually ready to bonfire, popular trending. What will be trending? Watch that Yembalalat. Oh, we were the Yembalalat parliament. Means that one is going to be trending, you know. But again, we should be the way, gentlemen. You unpack things here. Take your time. So anything in over this weekend, Facebook. We have offloaded. You have offloaded. To our listeners, a lot of new people we have people who have joined us here. Thank you. We are here every Saturday, unfortunately, but according to what Mabimbe is saying, if we find money to be doing this every day, then we don't have to work. Our only sister here, who she comments on the side, but we need a lady because the other day someone was in trouble. The president. I don't know, someone is off. Yeah. The president was in trouble for only having men. So thank you, Sarah. Even if you come incognito na mfisama, but at least you see, if we are accommodated, we've got a lady here. So we are very grateful. So gentlemen, that was our show. So we'll end our discussion again with Madiba. Don't go away. Listen to this beautiful, solid voice. I mean, it was just wonderful. Thank you. Until next week, Bakombe. Like you say, 1 week, ila kokolo kuisa mwandi nketi mbe pena ine win. Ndafa na pakati.